Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Parallel Session 2A of the 2022 Global Health and Welfare Forum in Taiwan. Parallel Session 2A begins now. It will be on the topic of the role of traditional medicine in health and well-being during pandemics. For this session, we are very honored to have the opening remarks from Professor Yichao Huang, Director General, Department of Chinese Medicine and Pharmacy, Ministry of Health and Welfare, ROC, Taiwan. Please join me in welcoming Professor Huang.
Professor Cui Zhengxun, Professor Kenji Watanabe, Professor Shui Zhang, and Professor Yin Honglong, and Professor Chen Wangpei, and also Deputy Director Qiu Wenhui, and many colleagues in National Research Institute of Chinese Medicine, and Professor He Zhonglong from Hualian Chiji, Professor Zhang Yongxun, and many other distinguished guests. Good afternoon. It's a great honor and pleasure for my Department Chinese Medicine and Pharmacy, Ministry of Health and Welfare, to welcome you all to attend the meeting on site as well as e-conference. You know, since the late 2019, COVID-19 has ravaged all over the world. And the repercussion, part of the repercussion is that, you know, on 29th of October, after 3 years lockdown in Seoul, there is a tragic stampede, I think with more than 150 people, young people, died because of this. And so COVID-19 has many important and diverse impacts, economically, international travel, and also in health, and etc. So I think it's timely and pertinent for us to have this symposium discussing the role of traditional medicine in the health and well-being during pandemic. And I should mention the co-organized National Research Institute of Chinese Medicine, Professor Shui Zhang. Apart from the NRICM 101, he also suggests that we should invite of distinguished foreign guests to have a good discussion. So this is how we organize this seminar. My deep appreciation to Professor Cui Zhengxun and Professor Watanabe. When I email you talking about whether you should be able to come along, you honor us with your participation in person. And also, you know, the big program, Global Health Forum, is an annual event from the Ministry of Health and Welfare to invite all important scholars and government officials in public health, in clinical medicine, etc., to come to Taipei to discuss important issues in Taiwan. And as part of Parallel Symposium, we have the role of traditional medicine in the health and well-being during pandemic. And I think COVID-19 really pushed us to think very hard compared to SARS in 2003, which lasted only 6 months. COVID-19, I think, is more long-lasting, and also the impact, including economic aspect, is very, very, very big. So with that, I welcome you all to come and to listen to 3 speakers, including one from Professor Cui Zhengxun, one from Professor Watanabe, and one from Sui Zhang. And I thank you all to our speakers as well as the participants on site and through e-conference. Thank you for your participation in this symposium. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Please remain on the stage. As we are going to take a group photo, so let's welcome today's distinguished guests, the panelists and the moderators, the speakers. Move your steps to the stage, please. This way, please. So we will have 2 photos. The first one with your mask off, please, as the policy has been loosened a little bit. Please look at the photographer. And then concentrate to the middle, please. Thank you. Can you have your thumb up? Yes, it's Taiwanese habit to have thumb up during photo taking. Thank you. And the second one, can you have later have your mask back, please? One, two, three, cheese. Thank you very much. Please return you to the seats. Thank you. Now, let's move on to our first talk. We are honored to have Professor Yichao Huang, Director General, Department of Chinese Medicine Pharmacy, Ministry of Health and Welfare, continue to be the moderator for the first talk. So the floor is back to you again, Professor.
Yeah, and it's my honor and pleasure to introduce Professor Cui Zhengxun. Originally, the moderator is Professor Zhao Genglin, but he got a sore throat, runny nose. So to reduce the risk, and she said that she could not come in person to chair distinguished speaker, Professor Cui Zhengxun, and they both are good friends for decades. And let me briefly introduce Professor Cui Zhengxun. He is now the president of International Society of Oriental Medicine. And Professor Cui Zhengxun graduated from Tsinghua University in Korean medicine. This morning, he gave us a very excellent talk about during his stint between 2003 and 2008 as the Regional Headquarters Director for the Asia Pacific region World Health Organization, WHO, and he is a really initiator for the WHO's ICD-11 and prototype to incorporate traditional medicine in the international classification of disease, the mortality and morbidity, and the core number of diseases. And actually, Professor Cui Zhengxun have been good friends and also a senior figure in Taiwan. And actually, in the late 1980s, during his sabbatical year, he has been in China Medical University. And with this, he mentioned that it enabled him to take up the post as the Asia Pacific Regional Headquarters and Director for the WHO. Moreover, importantly, he organized and edited the English translation of 东医受世保全. This important classic from Korean medicine, with Professor Choi Seung-shin, it has been translated into English so that the readership can reach the world. Professor Choi Seung-shin has also been the director of KIOM, Korean Institute of Oriental Medicine. During his directorship, I have been fortunate to visit his institute as well as himself. And apart from the chair professor of Tsinghua University, he also has been the vice president of Danguo University in Korea. With his many distinguished academic as well as administrative and jobs, we can learn a lot from him. And today's topic, he will give us a retrospective as well as the prospect of traditional medicine through the pandemic. I anticipate that he will give us a viewpoint, not just in Asia, but globally, what traditional medicine and COVID-19, when they come together, what we can do and what we have achieved. Professor Choi Seung-shin, the podium is now yours. Thank you.
Thank you, 主席先生。各位站长们、女士们、先生们，下午好。我是从
Good afternoon. I am from Korea, but now I live in Boston. So I am suffering from the jet lag.
Okay. Thank you very much for your invitation. And today, my topic is retrospective and prospect of traditional medicine through the pandemic. Right? Historically, human crises have been always overcome through innovation. See? And start with the conclusion. I think that the COVID-19 pandemic is calling for a paradigm shift in medicine. See? So COVID-19 is a respiratory disease caused by SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus discovered in 2019 in Wuhan, China. See? And then you can see this is updated statistics from the WHO that there has been more than 600 million confirmed cases of COVID-19, including more than 6.5 million deaths, right? And now, is pandemic over? So President Joe Biden says the pandemic is over. The WHO says the end is in sight. So I think that almost over. So, okay, I'd like to think about this impact of COVID-19. You see, there are two aspects of COVID-19 impact. There's first negative impact is so many people died, and also there is a global economic damages and the poverty level in society, and worsen food insecurity. You see, and then especially adversely affects their mental health, and also drastic increase in amount of biomedical waste, such as a mask or something. And also severe drop in tourism, and also disruptions of the educational sector. Actually, this educational sector is a double-edged, sword. This is a negative impact, that is inequality in learning and lack of technology. And the dismantling the family relationship, this is also double-edged. This is a negative one, so the interpersonal conflicts and domestic violence in the family. Okay. And also, there are a number of positive impacts of COVID-19. First, they reinforce the genuine relationships such as a family and community, and also increase new technology for innovations. And remote working turning into mainstream. There's increase the punctuality, that there is no reason to be late because they're home, so no traffic or nothing. And also practice better hygiene, so especially decrease other infectious diseases such as the common cold and flu is drastically decreased. And also education becomes digitalized and affordable, as you see, and the restoration of the natural environment, such as the a drop in pollution and carbon dioxide levels also dropped, and wildlife and plants began to thrive. And so urban traffic is better, and then also especially the reduction in crime, see? It's the one thing, positive impact of the COVID-19. Okay, and then this global industrial analysis mentioned that the outbreak of the COVID-19 has also provided an opportunity for herbal medicine manufacturers to increasingly roll out herbal products that boost immunity. Immunity is very important for COVID-19. And so also the Euromonitor also mentioned that with COVID-19 increasing Americans' awareness of self-care and preventive health measures, herbal dietary supplements has been a spike in growth in 2020, okay? Also, the Fortune Business Insights says that COVID-19 being a novel disease, the lack of specific medicine for its treatment has increased the consumer focus on improving immunity, see? And also economists said that the pandemic is boosting sellers of traditional medicine, whether or not they work. Herbal remedies is a healthy business, see? And also, diplomats mentioned that to fight COVID-19, Asia increasingly turns to traditional medicine. And also, the Nutrition Insights that the Korean demand for red ginseng spikes in line with the immunity trends, right? And Amazon, you see, this is at the initial stages of COVID-19. It was February 2020. They say that Amazon bans 1 million products due to coronavirus claims. There are so many dietary supplementaries to cure the COVID-19, but they banned. But later, you can find that in Amazon, Qingfei Paidu Tang is here. There's 32 ratings. And the Respirate, you see, 51 ratings. It's more. Later, it became more popular. Also, I purchased through Amazon. It's very cheap, you see. Yeah. But in Taiwan, it is not possible to purchase the COVID-19 by the Respirate. Actually, this is NRIC 101, right? And in Korea, the Qingpei Baowei Tang is Weeping Fengshan Jiawei founder. This is for the COVID-19 prevention and prevention and early stage treatment also. This is a stick type. It's very, very comfortable and easy, and also taste is quite good. Our grandkids really enjoyed this because it's almost a chocolate flavor, almost the same as. Yeah. And then TAM for COVID-19. TAM is a traditional East Asian medicine, right? And the traditional East Asian medicine, TAM, is originated from ancient Chinese medicine. So this is TCM, Korean medicine, Japanese Gampo medicine, Vietnamese, they are the TAM, right? And then these are the pathogenic microorganisms, as you see. So bacteria, it is quite now it's quite easy to recover because there is a very effective antibiotics. But for a virus, it's very difficult because there is host defending. So for COVID-19, so there is no effective Western medicine drugs, right? So then what kind of host will we be? 정치존의 셀프-커가 is 황대내징, right? So when the health chi is enriched within, the evolution cannot violate, right? Then zhengqi is what is zhengqi? So in this paper it says that immune system of human body, and in this paper it is mentioned immune system also. This paper says that it is known as healthy qi zhengqi, which shares a similar concept of word immunity, right? And another paper, it says that the viral qi in TCM is the immune function of modern medicine. The zhengqi is a kind of immunity or immune system. Okay. Then how to secure the healthy qi, zhengqi? Then you have to take a proper diet and strengthen exercise and regulate emotions, right? And then how to avoid a pandemic, P-qi, Du-qi, is also the same, chapter, Zifalun. Says that we should avoid the poison of qi. And these sentences we can translate like this. The evil qi enters the nostrils and exits from the nostrils, and the healthy qi comes out of the brain, so the evil qi cannot interfere. So it's very similar to this respiratory pandemic, like a COVID-19. So how to avoid the poisonous qi? There are two ways. One is isolation, the other one is daily protection. And the Zhiweibing, preventive treatment of disease. This is also a very important concept in this pandemic period. You see that Zhiweibing, it has three phases. One is prevention before disease onset. The secondly, prevent further progression of the disease. And thirdly, prevention of the recrudescence of disease, the Zhiweibing, okay? And historically, plague is always with our human beings. You see, there's a Tianjin Zhongyang Daxue Wang Yuxing Jiao, he published a paper that in more than 2,000 years, there were 352 major epidemics in China with an average of one major epidemic every 6.1 years. So this is a very interesting paper that combating COVID-19 with integrated TC and Western medicine in China. So this figure shows that from Huangdi Neijing, Zhengqi Shefu Kegan, and then Shanghan Lun, or Zhou Feiji Pang, or Wang Yu Lun, like this. And then in recent years, 2003, it was very important even for us. During, it was the SARS outbreak in China and Hong Kong. And then for this SARS outbreak, the Chinese government and major Hong Kong hospital, they tried to use the traditional medicine, firstly. Okay. And then October 2003, in Beijing, there was a WHO meeting, WHO International Expert meeting, to review the analyze clinical reports and combination treatment for SARS. At the time, also, I was working in the WHO, so I joined this meeting as a secretariat. And then we adopted recommendations, like treating SARS with integrated TCM and Western medicine is safe, provided that the treatment is applied according to TCM principles. The potential benefits may be greater if treatment is started at an early stages, and then so on. But recently, this paper was withdrawn in the WHO website. It just disappeared. I don't know why. There is some conspiracy, I think. It's very interesting. But I have that paper. If you want, then ask me, then I'll show you that one. And also, after that, this time, through the COVID-19 pandemic, so Chinese government, they provide the guidelines, okay? Then the guidelines recommended 17 Chinese medicines for COVID-19 and 2 Chinese herbal granules, 7 Chinese patent medicines, and 8 Chinese herbal injections. Okay, then traditional medicine has a scientific evidence. Yeah, it's very important, you see. And then the Tong Xiaolin, he's a most representative doctor in mainland China. His team made this paper, and the direct evidence of mechanism of traditional Chinese medicine treatment of COVID-19, and they highlighted that the TCM could reduce the all-cause mortality in COVID-19 patients, and TCM could inhibit virus replication and transcription of SARS-CoV-2. TCM can attenuate the cytokine storm and immune deficiency caused by the SARS-CoV-2. Okay, and another paper is also similar, results. Also, this one too. Also, this is from Taiwan, NRICM, 고자종야 연구소. Yeah, and then it highlighted like this, but I'm just skip because Professor Su make a presentation on this. Okay, then for these viral infections, government and the WHO should support our traditional medicine. You see, President Tsai Ing-wen laws developed Chinese medicine-based COVID-19 treatment, NRICM 101. It's very important. The government should support the traditional medicine. And also, the Ko Bu-yang, Li Shizhang, also he explained the treatment process using this NRICM 101. And also, you see, 고자종야 연구소 also published a paper that regarding this Qinggan Yihao and Ahao. So, the thumbs up. You people very like this thumbs up when you take a photo. Okay, and also recently, also you published another paper regarding this, NRICM 101, right? And also, personally, I enjoyed this, a remote traditional medicine for COVID-19 in Korea. So through the telephone we treat the COVID-19 patients in Korea. And also, they made a paper that the Korean Medicine Telemedicine Center has provided medical services to 10% of all patients with COVID-19 in South Korea, and it is still in operation. That later it became 20% of the confirmed COVID-19 cases were treated by the, Korean medicine. Also in North Korea, also they are using the traditional medicine to fight COVID-19, North Korea. And also in Japanese. Also, I don't talk too much because Professor Watanabe will talk this. And also in China, as you see, China government is very strong to support this, traditional medicine, TCM. So, and also they very much stress that they strengthen the integrative medicine between TCM and Western medicine, and also traditional medicine should be integrated in their medical system to treat the COVID-19. And also they promote the very effective formula and also ready-made formula products. In BBC, also they reported that China pushes traditional remedies amid the outbreak, okay? And the Nature also mentioned this, and then China is promoting coronavirus treatment based on unproven traditional medicines. Nature, they are not so positive, a bit critical in this. Still, they have that kind of aspect. Okay, in WHO is very much supportive for our traditional medicine research, especially in Africa, you see. And also, continuously, they support the traditional medicine research for COVID-19, like this. This year, in March, in Geneva, also WHO, they convened the WHO expert meeting and evaluation of TCM in the treatment of COVID-19. And then they adopted recommendations, like to encourage member states to consider integration of traditional medicine interventions, such as TCM, in planning for the clinical management of COVID-19 in the context of the healthcare system's regulatory frameworks. But that's very similar to the SARS outbreak report. Okay, pandemic may be continuously coming. Yeah? So Dr. Sarah Gilbert, who is one of the creators of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, she mentioned that the truth is the next one could be worse. it could be more contagious or more lethal or both. And also Harvard School of Public Health, also they posted that the 3 practical actions could help prevent the next pandemic. The one is reduce deforestation, and second, better management of wildlife trade and hunting, and the better surveillance of zoonotic pathogens before they spill into human populations. Okay? And so UNEP also adopt the recommendations, including this operationalized the One Health approaches. Yesterday morning, we had this One Health presentation. One Health is connecting human, animal, and environment health, as CDC say. And why One Health is important, because that people live closer together now, changes in climate and land use, and more global travel and trade. Animals are more than just food. These factors make it easier for diseases to spread between animals and people. Yeah? So actually, this One Health this concept is quite new one. Just after the SARS outbreak, after 2003 and 4, this One Health concept is come. So this year, there was a One Health panel forum convened by the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. And also I joined this panel. At the time, Assistant DG of WHO and the Deputy DG of World Organization for Animal Health. So at the panel meeting, I stressed this, Tianren correspondence between man and nature, you see. In Huangdi Neijing, there are so many mention about this correspondence between man and nature, right? It's also Dao De Jing, also it mentioned this Tianren Shangyin. Okay, in the previous paper, that also provide another figure that there are 3 factors: host and the pathogenic microorganisms and the living environment. So as for prevent strategy to stop pathogens from attacking the host, change the existing environment of pathogens, and make the host stay away from pathogens. As for the treatment strategy, to reinforce healthy qi, zheng qi, to boost the host's ability to defend against diseases, and to remove pathogenic factors, right? So lessons from COVID-19, Western medicine and our traditional medicine should be collaborate each other, okay? And also a number of papers mentioned this. So the representative papers from Zhang Boli, also he was Zhongguo Zhongyi Kesheng Yuanzhang, Chen Yuanzhang, and his team published this paper, TCM in COVID-19, very simple and short title. They say that a valuable lesson learned from China's COVID-19 battle is that perseverance in combination of TCM and Western medicine is the right and sensible choice. And another paper, this is about the Qingfei powder decoction. As it highlighted that Qingfei powder decoction and Western medicine are beneficial for COVID-19. And the combined therapy improves anti-inflammation in patients with COVID-19. Combined therapy may mitigate the extent of multi-organ impairment in COVID-19, right? And also another paper, it mentioned that the combination of TCM and Western medicine has played a positive and important role in combating COVID-19 in China. Okay? So many papers, it mentioned that, right? Another paper. This is from the Hong Kong, and that titled "Evolution of Chinese Medicine to Treat COVID-19 Patients in China." It says that the treatment and prevention of COVID-19 would benefit greatly from more effective, integrated and West and East medicine approach in order to address the complexities and pathogenesis of SARS-CoV-2. Okay. Also in these papers mention about a number of advantages of TCM integrated therapies. Yeah. And this is from the nursing field that it mentioned that the combination of Western medicine and TCM in syndrome differentiation and treatment is Benjing treatment based on the local condition, isolation, and personal protective measures of great significance for the prevention and treatment of COVID-19. Right? This is also from Hong Kong that TCIM, that is traditional, complementary, and integrative medicine, was used commonly in Hong Kong during the COVID-19 pandemic. This is a kind of legacy of a SARS outbreak, you see. And then professional bodies should proactively consider public preferences and provide information regarding the effectiveness and safety of TCIM for COVID-19 prevention and treatment, right? And also another paper, also almost the same results, and also this one too. Okay, this is a Cambridge University Press published a paper, a systematic review of outcomes in COVID-19 patients treated with the Western medicine in combination with the TCM versus Western medicine alone. And they concluded that the outcomes in COVID-19 patients treated by the integrative Chinese and Western medicine is better than those treated by the Western medicine treatment alone, suggesting that the Western medicine TCM can be complementary in the treatment of COVID-19. There are so many papers, you know. So it is not our traditional medicine is superior to Western medicine, but the integrative medicine is better than Western medicine alone. This is very important, I think. So to be a desirable integrative medicine, cutting-edge Western medicine and the best traditional medicine should be harmonized. If not, the outcomes are very poor. So the best Western medicine and the best our traditional medicine should meet each other. That's very important. Then why our traditional medicine? You see, this is the life expectancy by country 2022. So these are the top 10 long life expectancy countries in the world. So you see, there are 10 countries, you know. The 5 are from Europe, and these 5 are from our East Asian countries, you see. The European countries are very small size, except for Italy, you see. And also another paper, another statistics that this was provided by the Johns Hopkins University of Medicine. The Coronavirus Resource Center provide this, you know, statistics that this is about the mortality in the most affected countries. So there are 20 countries, and then our East Asia country is in the lowest mortality. You know, the South Korea, Taiwan, Japan, and China, they're in the lowest mortality countries. So we have to pay attention to these statistics, you see? And also in the ICD, in the ICD-11, there is a traditional medicine chapter. And then traditional medicine is included now. Okay, and also this mentioned that the scope of this chapter is currently covering traditional medicine conditions and which originated in ancient China and now commonly used in China, Japan, Korea, and elsewhere around the world. So you can see in the WHO perspectives and other, you know, statistics, it says that in East Asia country there is a something. There is a something. So what is the something? See? So this is a Nature article that this article was published in about 4 years ago. That this Nature mentioned start with my name here. And then this is about ICD-11 because I initiate the ICD-11 traditional medicine chapter, and also later I cooperate with the Genji Professor Watanabe here. And at that time, also I mentioned that this ICD-11 will definitely change medicine around the world. So this ICD-11 traditional medicine chapter is about our East Asian countries. So from the traditional medicine community, our traditional medicine should be in the front, and then combined with the Western medicine. That can be the, you know, the either medicine later. And also, this is a very A simple, comparison between Western and traditional medicine, that this is Western and traditional one. Background is modern science and our traditional science. The experiment experiences analytic, reductionistic, statistical, holistic, and subjective. And they try to promote the accuracy, and we are adequacy, and structure, function, and disease-oriented, and we are human-oriented. Diagnosis is disease, and our pattern, Zheng, and the cure, care, right? And the chemical and our defensive, preventive, and the overall, Western medicine is very much artificial, but we are very much natural, you see? So they are quite different. We are same. Our same goal is to treat the patient, but the approach is very much different. This is very important. We are different, so we have to combine together, then make a kind of integrative medicine. Yeah? Then we can make a kind of complete understanding of the human body and diseases. Okay, there are suitable diseases for integrative medicine, see? As a common, chronic, or recurrent in nature. Like the common cold, maybe this viral infections, see? And no effective treatment in Western medicine, and serious side effect in Western medicine, and expected cost effectiveness, integrity, then it became cheaper, right? And safe drug interaction. See, it's very important also. Okay. Recently, I found a very interesting paper. It mentions that, they have recommendations as a general principles. Dialogue and information exchange between modern and traditional medicine should be based on mutual respect and aim to be complementary rather than competitive. This is very important. And then they concluded that they are optimistic that there is an opportunity to revolutionize the way we collaborate with traditional medicines and its practitioners. A cohesive and purposeful collaboration among traditional healers, scientists, government, and academia can usher in a new paradigm with informed and safe use of traditional remedies for the current and future pandemics. Yeah. So there are promises for successful integrative medicine. So mutual understanding and smooth communication, and secure the therapeutic evidence of traditional medicine through the clinical studies, and the secure safety of whole drug interaction, and identify the cost-effective integration, right? And evidence-based protocol-driven diagnosis and management algorithms supported by pragmatic, trials and outcome research. You see, Zhang Suchun, this book, he proposed the formula that gypsum and aspirin decoction, 100 years ago already they combined, you see, gypsum and aspirin. It was 100 years ago. And also nowadays, you see, this is drugs for cold. They're combined, you see. This one is Paidushan and the Gergantang, Shaoqinglongtang. They combined with the Western medicine to cure the cold. So Korea and Japan and also China, like this. Also, integration in medicine, you see there are several patterns like this. Sequential process, team process, parallel and circular processes. Also, like in Taiwan, it should be integrated, the medical system. This is by the Noam Chomsky. Actually, Noam Chomsky lived together with our neighbor in Boston, in Lexington. He mentioned that the scientist, bit like the joke about the drunk who is looking under the lamppost for a key that has lost on the other side of the street, because that's where the light is. Light is. So always, scientists and the Western medical doctor try to find something on their own, methods. But the key is in here. So the Western medicine doctor, and this is traditional medicine doctor, and communicate each other, and finally they find a golden key. This is integrative medicine, I think. Yeah. Okay. Finally, the paradigm shift in medicine. Now we are under the Western medicine-oriented system, but recently we experienced the COVID-19, you see? And then at this time, our traditional medicine was very much, contributed here. So we have to make this kind of immunity medicine. Not only the COVID-19, and also the other, diseases. Okay, the Winston Churchill says that never let a good crisis go to waste. Good crisis. For us, COVID-19 is a good crisis. If we are prepared, if we will, then this can be a good crisis. NRICM, 고자종약 연구소, you make a good crisis. Okay, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful sharing, Professor Choi. And on behalf of the organizer of the conference, Professor Huang, now I'd like to present some gifts to you. So please remain on the stage.
Thank you so much. Excellent talk.
Thank you once again to the speaker. Now let's move on to our second talk. For the second talk, we are very honored to have Professor Fang Pei Chen, Professor and Director, Institute of Traditional Medicine, National Yangming Jiaotong University, RC Taiwan, Visiting Doctor, Center for Traditional Medicine, Taipei Veteran General Hospital, ROC Taiwan, to be our moderator of the second talk. The floor is yours now, Professor Chen.
Okay. Good afternoon. Konnichiwa. Yeah. Director General Huang and our distinguished speakers, moderators, guests, and ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. 大家好. Let's move on to our second topic. And it's my greatest honor to be here, invited by this Global Health Forum to be moderator for this second talk. And this is my greatest honor to introduce Professor Watanabe. I'm sorry. Okay. 渡边教授. 好，渡边教授. I've heard that Professor Watanabe is a long friend of Medical China University for a period of time. And Professor has been visited Taiwan for many times. Yes. So let me introduce you. Watanabe is graduated in 1984, got his MD in the Keio University, Tokyo, Japan. And then 1991, he got his PhD also in the same Keio University in Japan. And then he has spent 4 years to be the postdoctoral fellowship and the training in genetics and cell and molecular biology in Stanford University, California, USA. Then he came back to Japan and as an instructor of Japanese phytotherapy, then Oriental medicine research through associate professor, and then got his professor degree, professor degree, yes, in Keio University faculty. And right now he is the guest professor in Keio University School of Medicine and eminent professor in Yokohama University of Pharmacy. And also he has his own clinic, and he's the director of Otsuka Kembo Clinic. So he has a lot of experience to use Kembo drug for treatment. And he also is the WHO co-chair for many projects. And Of course, he has a pile of publications and a lot of awards. And of course, he is also working in the editorial board for many famous chem journals as well. So let's welcome Dr. Watanabe for his talks about COVID-19 treatment from the aspect of traditional medicine in Japan. Yes, please come.
Thank you, Professor Chen. My name is Kenji Watanabe. So, thank you very much for to be invited to this very important government forum, and it's a great honor to be here with a distinguished guest. And Dr. Choi was my old boss in the UPRO. so we worked together for long time. Take off the mask. Yes. Okay, today I will talk about the COVID-19 treatment from the aspect of traditional medicine in Japan. That's Kampo medicine. So no CY to declare. So 4 topics I'd like to share today. So number 1, COVID-19 in Japan. And second, Kampo strategy against COVID-19. And third, challenges of Kampo treatment in Japan. And 4, future vision. Okay. So not very latest data, but as of September 18th, so we have 7 waves. Compared to the 6, these 2 are Omicron. So compared to these 2, first wave is very small or tiny, so you cannot see the wave. But until the 3rd wave, so original variant, and then Alpha variant, and the Delta variant, and Omicron. And Omicron is spreading very fast. And when you see the death number, so every wave goes up slightly later than the outbreak of the patients. So this is the summary of the number as of October 8th. The total number is the 21 million patients, and some accumulative death is 43,000. So that means 1.8% death rate. But so overall, let's see, I'm sorry. Right? No. Something is wrong, I'm sorry. Let's see. Death rate actually, so this is in the boat, 1.8% in the boat, the very beginning of the pandemic. So that's the original variant. And it's very high. But now with Omicron, the death rate decreased a lot. So when we see the death rate, so if you compare the younger than 60 years old and older than 60 years old, so when you see the death rate, the Omicron is very low under 60 years old. But over 60, still a little bit high, nearly 2%. And So this is a seasonal flu, and so this is under 60 years old. The death rate is comparable, but over 60, so nearly 4 times more compared to the seasonal flu. So, yeah, actually, so when I okay. So Japan was a little bit behind to other Asian countries in terms of the onset of the COVID-19. So actually, the last visit abroad was 2019 November, Taiwan. I visited Professor Yen in CMU in November. And next year, February, then I invited Dr. Yen to our meeting by the Cabinet Secretariat of the Japanese government. So the title is under the umbrella of the Asia Health and Human Wellbeing Initiative. And the title of the research project is a survey of the realization of big data collection of Oriental medicine. And there are 2 parts. One is a national meetings, working groups, and the other one is the international working groups. And so on the February 19th, 2020, so the delegates from China, Japan, Korea, India, Taiwan, so came to Japan. I invited 3 members from China, Korea, but so from China, only 0 delegates came. And from Korea, only 1. And so this is the February, and so both came into Yokohama in Japan, and in the boat, the prevalence of the COVID-19 occurred, but inside Japan, no patients at the time. And so in 2003 SARS, fortunately, Japan didn't experience any patient, 0 patient in 2003 SARS. So many Japanese physicians were very optimistic. So maybe this time again, no patients in Japan. But unexpectedly, COVID-19 came into Japan in March. And then, let's see. So in March, I asked the delegates of these countries, because I heard that some countries has already made the guideline. So I asked my friends to provide the guidelines. And from China, guideline for COVID-19, 7th edition, was already published in March. And already, Japanese version was made by the China-Japan Friendship Hospital. And Japanese version was also provided. And from Korea, already the society guideline was made. And from Taiwan, Dr. Su's guideline was made, and Dr. Yen sent me. And this is in Shanghai. One of my students in Funan University sent me this. So even in Shanghai, there was a guideline. And all the guidelines included the Qinfei Paidu Tang, and that was very, very impressive. And because the Jamboli used and developed that formula. So So after collecting the guidelines, so together with the our friends, so including Dr. Yen from Taiwan, so published the guidelines in Asian countries. And unfortunately in Japan, so there was no guidelines. And this publication was in April. So I collected the guidelines and made an article and published soon in April. And also I learned so many things from the other countries about the online seminars. So I listened to 2 lectures by Jamboli and also John Dee of the Ganjiao, and also this is my close friend, Lee Kun-jia, Professor Jia of the China-Japan Friendship Hospital. So I learned a lot before I experienced the first patient. So then in April, I experienced the very first patient. So in those days, PCR test was not so commonly available. So the patients had waited for PCR for 8 days, and 9th days PCR test was done. No, 8 days maybe, and 1 day after. So PCR was positive. And then he called me, online consultation, and I sent him the Jinfei Tang, and so you see on the day of the taking this formula, so actually the fever is so higher, and also more cough and more sore throat, and abdomen was full, and so many uncomfortable symptoms. But these symptoms are necessary to exclude the virus. That's the theory of Shanhan-Lun. So this is the list of the Campo formula I used for COVID-19 patients. So until Alpha and Delta, I used these 4. And this Campo formula is the combination of the Gegentan and Xiaosai-Futan. And so this was also used very well in Japan. And Dr. Choi showed the article about this formula. So the clinical trial was done and published recently. But in Omicron variants, very close to the common cold, so Maofan-Tang or Gegentan this Campo formula are commonly used for seasonal flu. And for Omicron, so these are good enough to treat patients at the very beginning of the disease. So until the Delta and also the Omicron are very different. So let me explain later. So the Campo strategy against COVID-19, not limited to Campo, team, traditional East Asian medicine, team, strategy. So Shanhan-Lun, this is by Keisetsu Otsuka, Japanese. So in Japan, Shanhan-Lun is a Bible. and starting the Kampo medicine from the Shanghanlun and end in Shanghanlun, like that. So it's like a Bible. And so very different from the Western medicine textbook. So for example, in Western medicine so concept, so for this disease and this medicine. But in so Kampo way is the so Shanghan so is thought to be the typhoid fever, so bacterial infectious. For only one so disease in Western medicine, actually over 100 formula are used. So in this textbook, so 110 formula are used according to the condition between the human host human, and the pathogen. So that's very different from the Western medicine. So, for the acute febrile infectious disease, so Shanghanlun is so still used in Japan. And when I see so many books, the human history is over 200,000 years, and during those days, so in the evolutional condition, so we gained so many antimicrobial defense system. And so these are the list: fever, cough, vomit, diarrhea, anxiety, and pain. And so above 4 are to exclude the microbes, and below 2 are warning sign for the body. And for example, fever is the first thing, and let's see. And also diarrhea is very important. For example, norovirus infection, so you don't have to do anything, just diarrhea and take a water, then that's it. So no treatment necessary for norovirus infection. So human defense system has against the microbes already. So why not to utilize this system? And especially the fever is the greatest defense against the pathogen growth. So for example, old people unknowingly develop peritonitis from appendicitis or pneumonia from flu. So no fever is most dangerous. And also, dengue fever becomes more severe with antipyretics. So antipyretics is not recommended to use for dengue fever. So the mechanism of the fever, the cytokines from the infected cells, such as IL-1 or interferon alpha, so goes to hypothalamus. Hypothalamus, then reset the thermostat level, and then the body temperature increases. Then the inflammation goes up and down. So fever is the strongest defense system against microbes. So in Shanghanlun, there are, as you know, 6 stages. And according to the stage difference, we change the formula. So stage diagnosis is very, very important. So very different from the Western medicine, because for the flu, for example, Tamiflu is used, but in Kampo way, so traditional medicine way, even so for the flu. So there are many, many different formulas to use according to the condition, host condition against the pathogen. So for example, the young people react and the high fever, that's so excess reaction. And old people, it's a very deficient reaction. That means doesn't manifest fever and very dangerous. So there are many, many factors, but considering all these factors, we decide the formula. So this is a very important slide from the beginning I used. So advantages in Kampo treatment, so maximize the body defense system, temporarily increase fever or worsen cough. So when I observed my patient, so Jinfei Paidu Tang, so increased 0.5 centigrades soon after taking the medicine. And increase their innate and acquired immunity. That's Dr. Choi already mentioned. So therefore, Kampo can be used regardless of the virus type. A mutation of the virus does not matter. So I don't care XBB or BQ1 or new variants. So I don't care Omicron or Alpha. Yeah, just observe the host pathogen reaction and define and find the best Kampo formula for the patient. And earn time until the vaccines or effective drugs are available. This slide was made in the very beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I emphasized this. And actually, I forgot to list my Japanese book. I published one book about Kampo for COVID-19. So anyway, what happened in Japan, so I myself have treated many patients of COVID-19 and also post-COVID patients. And I'm very confident in my treatment. And those, of course, some people may criticize. I see only in the beginning, very not severe patients, not hospitalized patients. That's true. In the hospital, only one patient I treated, my Kampo in the hospital because the hospital Western medical doctor allows him to drink Kampo formula. So that's the only exception. So until the alpha has a variant, so the virus grow mainly in the lung. And the alpha, until alpha, it was very dangerous. And at the beginning, do you know the happy hypoxia? So happy hypoxia happened in alpha variant until the alpha variant. So the reason why it grows in the lung is the optimal temperature of RNAs of the virus was 35 degrees Celsius. So that's why it cannot grow in the throat, because this is 30 degrees and lung is 35. So this is very uncommon in the viruses. So usually the common cold 30 degrees and grow in the throat. But in this, until the alpha, the RNA's optimal temperature was 35. That's why happy hypoxia happened. So a delta, less dangerous, and so that optimal temperature of RNAs was between 30 to 35 degrees. And Omicron, so it grows mainly in the throat. So because the optimal temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. So yeah, of course, so the principal theory method is not different in Kampo or traditional medicine, but so original variant and Omicron are very, very different. So even the XBB or BQ1 are still so growing in the throat. So you don't have to worry too much. But so those Omicron so spread very, very, so how to say, rapidly. So that's why the number increased a lot, very rapidly. So when I see again, so this graph, and see the Kampo use. So actually, until the Omicron, so Kampo was not commonly used. And I was one of the exceptional doctor in Japan, so who treated COVID-19, and many Kampo doctors were afraid of the infection of himself or herself. So, but actually, so I emphasized from the beginning. So this period, so Kampo should be used, and actually, so Omicron, because it became so very safe, not life-threatening. So many, not only Kampo doctors, all the Western medical doctors started to use. So the Kampo use is like this. And also, one of the Western medicine, Shionogi, was rejected by the government, twice, in March and July. So that's why, Kampo became to be used, very, very rapidly. So this is very good for Kampo, but yeah, actually, this is a summary of the Kampo use. So there are only one medical license in Japan, and around 90% physicians use both Western medicine and Kampo medicine. So however, only 2,000 physicians are board certified, and other physicians use Kampo extract according to the symptom. So many physicians started to use Gegentan is good for COVID-19, then okay, Gegentan, like that. So many physicians started to use. And until the Delta variant, physicians didn't use, but started to use a lot. And as a result, we are facing serious supply shortage of the Kampo products and raw herbs. This is a very serious problem right now in Japan. So future vision. So I participated in many international conferences. This is with China and also other Chinese delegates. And also this is about post-COVID. So US are member of the Kampo group. And I organized a meeting in March. And so one of the speakers was Dr. Su, Professor Su. And very, very stimulating talk. And ethnopharmacology, Professor Ayen kindly invited me. And so recently, in the end of September, I also organized this meeting. I organized and co-chair, and at Dr. Su again. I'm sorry, I used you many times, I'm sorry. Because his talk was always so very stimulating and every time, so new data. And so very impressed. And okay, so back to this 2020 February. So this Cabinet Secretariat project was supposed to continue, and so original plan was to establish the global network of the traditional medical researchers, policymakers, and practitioners. But actually, suddenly, it was stopped by COVID-19, unfortunately. So this is a summary of my talk. And so COVID-19 damaged a lot worldwide. So ASEAN Traditional Medicine, or team, plays a role in certain countries. And the international collaboration is important. Exchange of information, experience, and knowledge. And I learned a lot from the China, Taiwan, and Korea, and many things. And so new pandemic, so will be happen. So in near future maybe, and we should establish the international network to prepare for the next pandemic. This is my conclusion. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Professor Watanabe. And once again, on behalf of the conference, Professor Huang would like to present a gift to the speaker and the moderator. So please, Professor Huang. So firstly, to Professor Watanabe. Thank you, Professor Watanabe, for the wonderful talks. Next, for the moderator, Professor Chen. Thank you for moderating this session. Okay, thank you very much. Now let's move on to the third talk. We are honored to have Professor Hongrong Yan, Dean, College of Chinese Medicine, China Medical University, RC Taiwan, Director, Integration of Chinese and Western Medicine, China Medical University Hospital, RC Taiwan, to be our moderator for this talk. The floor is yours now, Professor Yan.
Thank you. It's my privilege here to introduce the next speaker, Professor Yizhang Su. So Professor Su is now serving as a director of the National Research Institute of Chinese Medicine, Ministry of Health and Welfare, Taiwan. So Professor Su graduated from the School of Chinese Medicine at China Medical University, Taichung, Taiwan. Afterward, he earned his master and PhD degree in the Graduate Institute of Chinese Medicine at CMU, Taiwan. He was the professor of China Medical University and served as the curator of the Lifu Chinese Medicine Museum, the director of the Graduate Institute of Chinese Medicine, and the chairman of the School of Chinese Medicine. So he has contributed a lot to the Chinese medicine education, serving as the president of the Taiwan Association for Chinese Medicine Education. So he has been renowned for the establishment of the Body Constitution Questionnaire, which contributed quite a lot to the Chinese medicine research. And this BCQ is also implemented and reimbursed by the National Health Insurance Scheme in Taiwan. So nowadays, he also lead a research team in the National Research Institute of Chinese Medicine and contributed to the development of the NRICM 101 and later on the 102 for the treatment of COVID-19. So ladies and gentlemen, let's join me to give a big hand to welcome Professor Su.
Thank you, Professor Yan, for your introduction. My old friend, Professor Cui, I remember I met you in 1990 when you visit our institute. And my dear friend, Professor Kenji Watanabe, we met several times in the national conference. Yeah. And all the participants, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great honor to attend this meeting. And after two great speeches, I will introduce our teamwork for fighting against COVID-19. This is my talk of the content. I will introduce the design and the development of NICM 101 and the clinical application, then the pharmacological mechanism of NICM 101 for COVID, and finally, the intermission effect on spike protein of mutant virus strain. This is the epidemic in the world during these years. We can find at first the Wuhan virus, and then Alpha, Delta, Omicron. We can find that the Omicron variant is highly infectious, but the lethality is greatly reduced. So it's very different, as the Professor Watanabe talked. This phenomenon is similar to the historical evolution of influenza. Now we know the cumulative fatality rate is 1.05% in the world. This is the epidemic in Taiwan. Before April 2021, we have excellent protection. So compared with the epidemic in Japan, we only one small wave alpha variant epidemic here. So according to the data from CCC, October 25, 2022, we can get the cumulative fatality rate in Taiwan is 0.17%. It's only 1/6 mortality rate of the world. So with the end and the need to coexist with COVID, this means Taiwan reached a nice soft landing. So it's a very different variant virus. This is the model for new drug development. Usually, we set the process from bench to bedside. The time need 10 to 15 years on average. So the time cost is very long to develop a new drug. Looking for all drugs with new indication for COVID treatment is only way. But the retrospective article in New England Journal of Medicine, published on December 2, 2020, we find that the main four drugs, like remdesivir, hydroxychloroquine, lopinavir, and interferon, had little or no effect on hospitalized patients with COVID-19. So it's the treatment effect, as Professor Watama said, and Professor Cui said, the virus treatment is not so efficacious in the Western medicine. Yeah. So we designed a new model. We named the bedside to bench model. Indeed, he is offered from our Professor Du Chongming about 80 years ago. So under the clinical effect of new TCM remedy, we link to the basic research, including the exploration of mechanism and the quality of control. Finally, we transfer to get the industry products. And after the EUA approved, we collected the real-world data and real-world evidence. The purpose of TCM drug development for COVID-19, we have 4 goals. The first is to reduce the number of infectious cases as a preventive drug for contacted or high-risk people. The second is to reduce the incidence and the mortality of severe ill patients, to maintain the medical capacity and reduce the pressure on medical care system. And the third is to shorten the time for virus tests to turn negative and accelerate the speed of recovery. Finally, to reduce the risk of severe complications, such as pulmonary thrombosis or fibrosis. And the long COVID symptom. Yeah. This is the design of NICM 101 and 102 formula. We use the TCM theory to develop the formulas for COVID and to facilitate the cooperation between care team of the modern medicine. The composition structure of TCM formula is translated and it can be easily understood as the following 3 parts. The first one is the antivirus drug, and the second is the immunomodulatory drug. These 2 parts are basic needs for the drug to fight against the COVID. Then finally, the body function supported drug is very important for the severe or critical ill patients. This is the flow chart of NICM 101 and 102 development. We need establish the basis to start this research. It means we need to get the clinical guideline for COVID-19. Today we talk about the ICD-11 of in the chapter 26 of ICD-11, but we need the operative guideline for the diagnosis and the treatment guideline. Then we initiate cooperative treatment of Chinese and Western medicine. This is under the guideline, and then we can communicate each other. But it's very important part is the basic research verification platform. Under this platform, we can check the HPLC fingerprint for quality control and for bioeffect control, the antivirus and the immunoregulation part. All NICM 101 and 102 products of an authorized pharmaceutical factories must pass the verification of this platform before applying for drug EUA or export license. After this, we can apply to the clinical practice. Then we can collect the real-world data and the real-world evidence. But it is a difficult process to go from a TCM preparation made in teaching hospital to become a product of GMP pharmaceutical factory preparation. This HPLC fingerprint represents the strict composition control of NICM 101. So we check about 8 factories and 2 pharmacies in medical center. Now, we have authorized 14 TCM pharmaceutical companies, and all the NICM product has been exported to 60 countries and areas, and has been used by more than 2 million people. This is the product of the 14 company. Through the sampling quality control of post-market product, we confirmed that all NICM 101 drugs used in the clinic and hospitals in Taiwan maintain high quality ingredients and bioactivity. This is the effect test for spike protein. We can find NICM 101 can bind to the spike protein RBD and block the interaction between spike and ACE2 with dose-dependent effect. It means that NICM 101 can prevent virus from invading cells. In other words, it has the vaccine-like effect. This is the 3-0 protease activity assay. NICM 101 inhibits the activity of SARS-CoV-2 3-0 protease with dose-dependent effect. It means that the NICM 101 can prevent the virus from replicating in the cell. Okay. We all know that the cytokine will produce the severe infection. So this slide shows that NICM 101 demonstrated repressive effect on the secretion of interleukin-6 and TNF-alpha as measured by LPS-stimulated murine alveolar macrophage. So we can know that NICM 101 can inhibit cytokine storm and to reduce the risk of severe illness and death. For reconfirmation, we use the real SARS-CoV-2 Wuhan virus strain to test the anti-SARS-CoV-2 virus assay. NICM 101 showed the ability to inhibit SARS-CoV-2 virus infection, reduce viral growth, and the antiviral activity, and block the plaque formation of SARS-CoV-2. This is the pharmacological mechanism of NICM 101. It presents a multi-targeting efficacious drug for treating COVID-19. As mentioned before, we have a small wave of alpha virus epidemic in Taiwan in May to August 2021. So we performed clinical research and have obtained real-world data for NICM 101 and 102 in 9 teaching hospitals, 4 medical centers, and 5 regional teaching hospitals. This is the clinical guideline for clinical use to treat COVID-19. And NICM 101 is prescribed for mild illness and moderate illness. And NICM 102 is prescribed for the severe illness and critical illness. And we performed the research and set up the primary endpoint of retrospective comparative study. The endpoint of comparative study for NICM 101 is the proportion of critical illness patients. It means transfer to ICU or intubation. And the comparative study for NICM 102 is the mortality rate. This is the WHO clinical progression scale for COVID-19. The cut point of the use of NICM 101 and 102 is between 4 and 5. In brief talk, is the need of oxygen supplies or not. So let us see the result. In real-world data, the two control groups may have different conditions. So we use rigorous one-by-one propensity score matching method to set up the condition. The matching method, matching variable include the age, gender, BMI, smoking, and drinking history, comorbidity disease, and disease severity on admission day. So we finally got 302 patients in this study. 151 patients taking NICM-101 did not turn into critical illness. We can see the line is very straight. And while 14 patients in the control group turned into critical illness. Yeah. So this two curve is very different. This is the mortality rate in severe and critical patients. After matching, the real-world data of NICM-102 included a total of 246 cases. And the 7 of the 123 severe illness patients treated with NICM-102 died. But 27 were in the control group. So this is the upper line is the patients taking NICM-102, and the lower line curve is the patient that has taken usual care in the ICU. So we can calculate the NICM-102 can reduce the mortality rate of the patient with severe illness by 74%. This is the quality control of NICM-102 decoctions from the different hospitals. The similarity is 93.8%. It's very difficult, and we can find all the preparation with very high consistency in the HPLC fingerprint. Now we have authorized 8 TCM pharmaceutical companies. All the products were monitored with 22 identified active components. Because NICM-102 has a significant curative effect in severe illness patients, so we set up the experimental protocol for NICM-102. We use ACE2 transgenic mice by spike protein RBD modeling to explore its pathological and pharmacological mechanism on the severe lung damage. And we also use the thrombin to induce the pulmonary fibrosis for double check. The red box shows that the left side is the mice lung with complex perfusion. It means no undamaged lung. And the right side is no perfusion. It means severe damaged lung. Use the even blue staining. The left side, we use the S1 spike protein induced the lung severe pulmonary pneumonia and pulmonary thrombosis. And the right side, we using thrombin induced the pulmonary thrombosis. NICM-102 can reduce the spike protein, induce the pulmonary thrombosis, dose-dependent effect, and reduce thrombin, induce pulmonary thrombosis. These two pictures we can see very different and very dramatic effect. In the same model, we can see the tissue and fiber staining. The left side is normal lung. We're using the HE stain for alveolar and the brachial tissue, and the meson stand for fibrosis. In the middle two figure, we can see the highly inflamed and flooded with diffuse alveolar damage. This pattern we say, named consolidation. Yeah, and the lower figure shows the strong cartilage deposition. You can see the blue staining. The right side is NICM 102 to treat the mice. We can see it will ameliorate severe lung damage in these two pictures, and the alveolar space and the bronchial space appear to normal condition. This is possible targeting site by NICM 102 in COVID-19. NICM 102 is highly valuable in the treatment of SARS-CoV-2 infection-associated pulmonary disorder. Till now, we have 4 research papers in biomedicine, pharmacotherapy, and the pharmacological research, and the frontier in pharmacology. Yeah. This is the inhibition of SARS-CoV-2 variant spike RBD ACE2 interaction by NICM 101 and 102. We check the Wuhan virus, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and omicron, BA1, BA2, BA4, and 5. And the significant inhibitory potency by NICM 101 and 102 were unaffected by virus mutation. So I make a brief conclusion. There are 3 target proteins used in the antivirus drug development. The first one is target protein 1, is the spike protein. NICM 101 and 102 could add on it. The second protein is 3-zero protease, NICM 101, 102, and the Paxlovid add on it. The third protein is RDRP, and we know the remdesivir and molnupiravir add on it. So this is the different treatment effect between antivirus drug and TCM drug, NICM 101 and 102. We can find that molnupiravir, Paxlovid only act on one target site, and they only use in the early stage. But NICM 101 and 102 can treat a patient with different stage by their multi-targeting effect. So antivirus treatment, supportive treatment, and immunomodulatory treatment. This is the last one slide. We can see the cost effectiveness. The injection form remdesivir is very expensive and little effect. The molnupiravir and the Paxlovid is also not cheap. Molnupiravir is less effect. The Paxlovid is with usage restriction. We can find that the price of NICM 101 is only about 1/10 price of the oral antiviral drugs, or Paxlovid. Yeah. We can treat 10 times the numbers of patients under the same budget. The TCM drug NICM 101 has more cost effectiveness for COVID. Okay, thank you for your attention, and the best wishes to you all.
Thank you, Professor Su. Once again, on behalf of the conference, Professor Huang would like to present the souvenir to the speaker and the moderator. So first, for the speaker, Professor Su. Thank you. Next, for the moderator, Professor Yan. Thank you. We thank all the three speakers for their wonderful sharings. Now we move on to panel discussion. And for our participants on site, if you have any questions, please raise your hand to sign us. And for microphone, please just simply turn on the button right next to your seat if you want to speak. Thank you. And now we invite our speakers and Professor Huang to be the moderator for the panel discussion. Now I will give the floor to Professor Huang.
So, yeah. So, I think with 3 lectures by Professor Cui Seng-Xun, Professor Kenji Watanabe, and Professor Yi Zhang-Shu, and now we are open for any comment or question from the audience, and any comment or question about the 3 lectures.
There is a question there with that.
Okay, yes, please.
Okay, thank you, professors, for the wonderful presentations. I would like to ask Professor Chenji. You talked about campo medicine, and I really want to understand the mechanism of action. Is it for boosting the immunity, or is it to reduce the severity of the COVID-19 symptoms? And if it's to reduce the severity of COVID-19 symptoms, is there any difference when you treat a patient in the early onset of the disease, or is it the same when you treat the patient in early onset or when the COVID-19 is severe in the patient? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. So actually, in the traditional medicine, the time course is very important. So as Dr. Xu pointed out, the beginning of the infection. So because the virus infection is so in one day, so different from the bacteria. So 1 million copies in one day. So 2 days, let's see, I cannot calculate. But so many. So it's like this. So the timing is very, very important. So of course, the earlier, the better. So in the later, so cytokine storm happened, then so it's very complicated. So before a cytokine storm, so cytokine storm is so caused by the huge amount of the virus. So before, in order to stop the cytokine storm, so we should treat as early as possible to decrease the virus. And there are 2 mechanisms. And one is as Dr. Xu beautifully has shown, against the viral proliferation. So protease or spike protein adhesion to the cell. So those are one mechanism. And also in campo, the same in our ICM 101 or 102. So Japanese pharmacology scientist has shown the inhibition of the protease or spike adhesion to the cell. But at the same time, the host immune system is very important. And the immune system is there are 2 parts. The first, innate, very natural. So natural means not specific, but widely attack the virus, then acquired immune system, very specific attack to the virus. So of course, so immune system is very, very important, but simply, so before that, the increasing the body temperature is a big inhibition for the virus proliferation, because as I shown, the RNAs of the virus, COVID-19, usually Omicron is 30 centigrades, is the optimal temperature. So if the body temperature increases like a 39 or 40, then virus cannot proliferate itself. So fever is a very simple, very initial defense system in the body we all have. Thank you.
And perhaps I can ask Professor Choi, in the early 2020, actually, when COVID-19 started, Korea was very successful in devising the test kits, even better than United States, because the congressmen in the United States, they criticized that even CDC in the United States, they failed. So they said that, how should we learn from South Korea? And in your lecture, you mentioned that now we have NRICM 101, and China, they have Tsinghua Paiduta, and the other at least 2 or 3. And from South Korea, I think what, in your view, and in terms of traditional medicine, to get the team and really integrate in this regard, I think my view is that the Korean government even has organized some of the company for diagnostic kits, and it was quite successful compared to traditional medicine. What is your viewpoint in this regard? Because my point is that in Korea, devising successful test kits, you have really a pioneer and even better than United States. And coming to the product of traditional medicine in the service of fight against COVID-19. So what is your viewpoint in this regard?
In terms of testing kit, I think it's quite successful in Korea. And then regarding this traditional medicine, actually the government was not so believing in traditional medicine to treat the COVID-19. So we very much, strongly fought and also appealed to our government that our traditional medicine can prevent and also can treat the COVID-19. So the Korean Medical Doctors Association, they try to do that, and finally they are accepted by the government. But still, Western medical doctors very strongly against that. We fought very seriously, and then we did the kind of a telemedicine treatment. So through the telephone call, and then also I was in 3 days services, and then through the telephone, and then we can communicate with the COVID-19 patients. And then we symptoms and signs, and then we make a kind of pattern, and then by the patterns we have formulas, but the formulas are mostly similar to China and Taiwan. So anyhow, we provided that medicine and then delivered to the patient. So like this, we about 20% of the confirmed cases were treated by the traditional medicine. And then later they made a kind of a survey through the patient, and about 94–95% of the patients, they're very much satisfied. And if then for the next pandemic, Also, they would like to use the traditional medicine in Korea. This is the Korean situation.
And in response to Professor Chuy's comment, and in early 2020, February, we organized in our ministry, my department, NICM, and the Association for the Chinese Medical Doctor, we put together the opinion leader so that we say that we should team up. And then we follow up what is going on in Taiwan as well as in the world. So in this way, Professor Su was quite quick. I think in March and April, already clinical observation has already been performed in the medical center of Tri-Service General Hospital and also Taichung Veteran General Hospital. So just to share with you, we, government and also the association, the Chinese Medical Doctor Association, we put together to work together so that the NICM is in this way coming out. I saw a signboard that the time is up, is it right? So we should close now?
Yes, please.
I think maybe we have not paid enough rent to this room. But anyway, I really appreciate Professor Cui Seng-Xun, Professor Kenji Watanabe, and Professor Su Yi-Zhang, and all our participants to join this parallel symposium, the role of traditional medicine in health and well-being during pandemic. I wish you all the best in terms of healthy and when you stay in, I know there are several foreign participants that, and when you stay in Taipei, you can know more about not just the global health, but also the good food in our night market, and also there are some very scenic landscape, and also stay well when you return home. And thank you so much. We close this parallel ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank the moderator and the panelists. Now, please head to room 11. Because now we are going to have a plenary free and closing ceremony at room 1101. Please, our participants, now move your step to room 1101 to join the plenary free and closing ceremony. The scheduled time to start is 3 p.m. So please move your steps to room 1101 now. Thank you. And kindly remind you that we prepare a small gift for those who stay until the very end.